Welcome to the Artful Teaching podcast. I'm Callie Flux, and I'm here with Heather Francis.
Hi, everybody.
We are here again today to address the next question to our Native American curriculum experts, Brenda Beall and Emily Soderberg. In our state, we have a wonderful program that was created in the 1990s called This is the Place. And it was written and based on people's understanding and the cultural zeitgeist of the day at that time. And over the years, the awareness that one of the songs in that program is not ideally suited for representing Native American culture or Native American people. And over and over and over again, we get questions from teachers about, wow, is this song okay? Can I sing this? This song supports stereotypes. This song is saying things that aren't really true. This song has that stereotypical beat. Can I use this song or can I not use this song? What do I do? Brenda Beall is the coordinator of our Native American Curriculum Initiative, and Emily Soderberg, the project manager. They're here to help us answer that question today.
Thank you, Callie. This is Brenda, and we have had this question over and over again, and I want to start out by saying that when this program or this song was first created, it was acceptable to people in general, but we're now in 2023 actually, and we have viewpoints and perspectives that have changed. And at this point, I feel like this song is probably verging on creating a narrative that is inaccurate for children. And we want to do what's best for children. We want them to view their fellow friends and fellow community members in the way that is authentic and accurate. And I don't know if this song does that.
So this is a song by our criteria that we recommend be set aside.
Yes.
There's too many inaccuracies in it to have just explanations for the children. Like if we're choosing a book and there's one or two inaccuracies, we can show those to the children and still use the book, and we use it with modification. This song is one that needs too many modifications, and it's time to set it aside.
Right. And if you're a teacher that is on a team that possibly uses the song or needs to talk to an administrator about the song and why you find it maybe marginalizing communities, there are a couple of things that we find in the song that are uncomfortable. And so I would say the very first three words of the song, which is supposed to be about in Native people, is actually sharing the perspective from which the song comes from.
And would you just tell us what that is?
It says,
do you want to sing the beginning of the song for us?
When white men.
It's when white men came. And so this song actually tells you it tells the history of what perspective the song is coming from.
And so that's an honest point of view. This is a song written from white man's point of view about when white men came to the land.
Yes.
And we want to move forward to restoring some of those cultural bonds and the sharing of the land and a more respectful point of view. So at least the song was honest about the perspective they were sharing.
Yes. And that perspective was definitely skewed.
So another thing to consider is that the song never brings Native Americans into the present. It completely keeps them as historical people. And in our discussions with Native families, Native educators, the song has made many Native children feel uncomfortable and unseen as who they are today. So if they're being asked to sing this song, they're not being able to represent who they are today. It's completely historical in the past and not helping them connect to who they are right now.
A great example of that was Brenda's nephew when the teacher told them, draw a Native American house, and he drew a teepee, and Brenda said, do you live in a teepee? And he said, well, no, but that's what the teacher wanted me to do. And if a Native child can't find themselves in a song about Native Americans, that's interesting.
Another thing in our work is this song teaches the 5 tribal groups. It goes through each of their names, but in our work with the 8 sovereign nations, they want to be known as the 8 sovereign nations. And so we are hoping to help perpetuate their identity as 8 sovereign nations rather than just the 5 tribal groups within Utah. And so helping to teach that, you can use what Brenda has put out with Callie on UEN with the 5 tribal groups on the hand, 8 sovereign nations, teaching that so quickly. They could perform that, just using their hand. They could say that in a performance, because I think a lot of times the reason why teachers want to continue using this song is because it's part of a performance. They want something that they can have students do for parents as part of this group of songs that create a performance. But if you want songs to sing, we have also been given permission to sing several Native American songs from the specific tribal nations.
I want to stop for just a minute because I want to go back to how a teacher can approach maybe a team or an administrator who is encouraging them to continue to sing this song. Not only the stereotyping of keeping them in the past, another one is just the beat of the song itself. It has a strong, weak pattern. Well, actually, it's
Strong,
a strong, weak pattern. And a lot of times that is labeled as the Hollywood beat. It's the beat that many movies use to depict Native Americans, and it's definitely not a Native American beat. And so that's sometimes jarring when you're Native American and you go in and you hear that beat.
It's a beat that is used to create stereotypical Native American music written by people that are not Native American.
Let's play the beat so they get
So
it.
if you put vocalization to it, you might go like hi ya 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 hi ya 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 hi ya ya ya, which is not anything you're going to find in any Native American music. And I grew up with music like that, and I know now that it's stereotypical. And so when we know better, we do better, we change. So
I think that's a really important point. And Brenda generously said at the very beginning that people thought this was okay. In the 90s when this was written, this was how the culture saw things. But I do want to acknowledge that there were people who knew it wasn't okay. There were people who felt marginalized every time the song was sung. So what I'm really grateful for is that as a culture, we've come to a place to start listening to those marginalized voices and saying, oh, this makes you uncomfortable? Teach me why. Because, so just like you said, now we can know better and do better. And we're not faulting anybody who wrote this beautiful program that's been used in schools for 30 years now, that many children have embraced and loved and grown up doing. And we want to acknowledge how important this program has been in the development of many children learning the history of our state. That's not what we're trying to minimize. We're trying to say, yeah, this is a great program. And now how can we make it better based on some of the understandings that we have right now, where we are setting goals to be sensitive to this particular marginalized group, bring them into the present, and strengthen our communities today.
I love that the teacher's asking this question because they want to be inclusive. Someone may say, well, let's just not do anything with Native Americans. Well, you can't talk about the history of Utah without talking about indigenous people within the state. And if you're nervous and you just say, well, let's just not do anything, then you're creating a greater void in all children's narrative of how Utah became a state. And so I think another point that one could bring up in seeing how the need for this song to be replaced is just some of the lyrics using the Great Spirit, or lyrics say that they worshiped wind, fire, and water and different entities. And as a Native American, I've never worshiped those elements. I may have a strong relationship or see reciprocity with those elements, but I've never worshiped. And that can be confusing to not only Native children, but to all children alike. Using the idea of a Great Spirit, we have, in my Navajo culture, we have the holy ones. And so that can also be a sticking point.
So it's not just stereotypical, but it's homogenizing, right?
Homogenizing,
There's obviously
definitely.
not Navajo-specific lyrics. It's not specific to the Paiute tribe. You know, it's not specific. It's homogenizing, saying all Native Americans worship this way, or, you know.
I like to think about when we have the term Native American, I like to connect it with the term European. You think about Europe and all the different languages, all the different cultures that are found in Europe. And so if you say, oh, that someone is European, you know that a French person is not the same as a German person, that they are going to have different backgrounds, different things. So when we say Native American, that is very similar to saying European. In the United States, there are 574 federally recognized tribes with different languages, different cultures, different ways of doing things. So if we are homogenizing them all into one group, saying, oh, they all do things the exact same way, it's like saying people in Europe are all exactly the same. Their languages are all the same. The way they do things are all the same. And we recognize, so I just wanted to put that in because I think looking at an entire continent, because Native Americans span more than just one continent, they're indigenous people all over. Looking at it that way helps us understand the harm that can cause by homogenizing.
And not only are there 574 recognized sovereign nations, there are many more that are just state recognized and not federally recognized. And then there are many who aren't recognized at all who continue to hold on to their culture and their tribal ways. And so 574 is just the starting point. There's so many more nations out there.
Great point. So teachers, we are so grateful for these questions and for your desire to improve the accuracy and authenticity of the work that you do in your classrooms. When we contacted the publisher of the This Is the Place music and program, that publisher said, I don't have the resources right now to rewrite that song, but I'm certainly happy if somebody else wants to rewrite it to replace that song. He certainly acknowledged that he too wants to be supportive. So we have had conversations with the Utah Division of Arts and Museums as well as with the Utah State Board of Education, the representatives there, and discussed who would be willing to rewrite this song. And I can't wait to see what artist, maybe a team of Native American artists, will step forward to write a new song in the future to fill this spot in this wonderful program that people like to use. And teachers, we have some alternate suggestions to offer you. Emily?
Yes, so the Northwestern Band of the Shoshone Nation has given permission for students in Utah to sing 2 of their songs, but neither song should be sung without creating context for the listener. So as you're doing performances, it's important to provide context. And so we have a paragraph that you can find in different lesson plans or blog posts that we have that describes this. I'm going to read it for you. There are many native tribes in the United States with distinct languages and cultures. Within Utah, there are 5 tribal groups, but more importantly, there are 8 federally recognized sovereign nations. These 8 sovereign nations are the Northwestern Band of the Shoshone Nation, the Skull Valley Band of Goshute, the Confederated Tribes of the Goshute Reservation, the Ute Indian Tribe of the Uinta and Array Reservation, the Ute Mountain Ute Tribe, the Paiute Indian Tribe of Utah, and the San Juan Southern Paiute Tribe, and the Navajo Nation. The song we are sharing today is specifically from the Northwestern Band of the Shoshone Nation and does not represent other Native American groups. We hope Native tribes will respect the Northwestern Band of the Shoshone Nation's choice to share this song from their culture. Not all Northwestern Shoshone songs are appropriate for elementary students to sing. Many of the songs are ceremonial or sung for specific reasons or at specific times. However, Patty Timbimbu Madsen, the Cultural and Natural Resource Manager for the Northwestern Band of the Shoshone Nation, has given permission for students to sing this song. And the 2 songs are either Damandoya or Pengui Bayanoga. She believes that singing this song will help students to better understand how Northwestern Shoshone people see their surrounding environment. This song is traditionally sung while passing time, perhaps when a Shoshone is outside and sees something that brings the song to mind, like the clouds floating or being near the mountains or streams. We express our gratitude that the Northwestern Shoshone have graciously shared this part of their culture with us, and we will do our best to respectfully sing it. So I think as we're singing these songs, we acknowledge which tribal nation it comes from, that it has permission to be sung, because not all songs should or could be sung by children that are not Native or at specific times, and that we express appreciation for the opportunity to be able to sing it. So we have Pengwi Bayanoga and Damandoya.
Okay, now before you give us the third one, is there any chance you would sing for us the first line of each of those songs?
Yes. So I've been given permission to sing it, but we do have recordings that are available of native speakers to be able to sing these songs. So Pengwi Bayanoga, Pengwi Bayanoga, Pengwi Bayanoga, Ena. That's one of the songs.
And which one's that?
That one's Pengwi Bayanoga.
Okay.
And then we have
Damandoya.
Damandoya. Damandoya vai vagena havigen. Damandoya vai vagena havigen. So we have these as parts of lesson plans. So teaching the songs, we have resources to be able to teach them. We also have a Navajo song that we have been given permission to sing, which is Sheena Shah, which goes, Sheena Shah, Sheena Shah, Sheena Shah, Bik e hojo la hea henea.
You are really working on your pronunciation. I'm so impressed.
Yeah, it takes practice, but they're all songs that students can sing, and the lyrics are repetitive. And every time I've taught them to students, they love them. They feel drawn to them, and they want to sing them.
And these would have been songs that the people sang when the pioneers came. So they are authentic Utah history songs.
Absolutely. They definitely tap into Native people.
Yes.
And we have lesson plans that help you create context for students, that give you instructional resources to learn these songs, correct?
Yes.
They're actually lesson plans that they're about the songs.
And they include other standards. So it's not just
absolutely
letting students learn the song, but what are some of the other things students learn as they're learning
So
these songs?
in the lesson plan, it's called Northwestern Shoshone Fish Song, because if we titled it Pengwi Bayanoga, people would not understand as they're looking through the lesson plan. So the Northwestern Shoshone Fish Song, it uses lots of language art standards. They are writing stories. They are connecting to different culture. Obviously, it has social studies standards as well. With the I Love the Mountains and Damandoya, it has a compare and contrast with a song that is a folk song in English. It compares it and contrasts it with Damandoya so that students are also doing language arts, but they're also learning the geography of Utah with the landforms and with different parts of the Great Basin, Rocky Mountains, and Colorado Plateau, different parts of that. With Sheena Shah, it includes the historical aspect, but also ties in health standards of how students are responding to their own ability to deal with stress and different things in their lives. Students, each of them, they are writing in these, they are reading, they are doing lots of connections with themselves and with other content areas.
You guys have done such a great job on these lesson plans. They are just loaded with many, many layers.
And I do have to say that they are tribe approved. They have been shared and planned or collaborated on with each of the tribal nations.
Thank you, ladies, for sharing these wonderful resources, and we can't wait to get these resources out to more teachers. Teachers, these resources will be in our show notes.
Yeah, we'll have links to, Emily mentioned the video that Brenda and Callie did. They have a hand mnemonic device that helps students remember the 5 tribal groups, but more importantly, the 8 sovereign nations. So we'll link to that. We have the lesson plan for Damandoya, the lesson plan for the Northwestern Shoshone Fish Song, and we have the lesson plan for Sheena Shah. And those will be linked in the show notes. And then I think do we have a blog post with information about this 4th grade song specifically?
We do.
So we'll link that blog post as well so that you can have the talking points when you talk to your team or administrator who's maybe resistant to changing this song in the program.
Thank you, teachers, for joining us for this version of the Artful Teaching podcast. Wishing you an artful journey. Artful Teaching is made possible by the BYU Arts Partnership in the McKay School of Education.
Thanks to James Houston for editing this podcast. Music was generously provided by Connor Chi, a Navajo Diné composer and performer.
And special thanks to all of the teachers who are changing lives every day while serving in schools.
If you like what you heard, please leave us a review. You can find all the show notes for this episode and more resources at advancingartsleadership.com.
And don't forget to check out our tribe-approved lesson plans on the website as well.
I'm Heather Francis.
And I'm Callie Phlox,
And I'm Brenda Bial.
wishing you an artful journey.